Have you ever wondered why the most spiritually advanced cultures, the shamans, the medicine people, the seers, almost universally refused alcohol? In the middle of dense rainforests, far removed from the noise of modern life, where nature whispers ancient truths and the veil between worlds grows thin, the people who guided entire tribes through healing, visions, and spirit realms wouldn't touch a drop of alcohol, not during ceremony. Not for celebration, not even to relax. Why? The short answer? Because they feared it. Not like fear of snakes, or storms, or death. This fear was sacred. It was born from experience, from watching what alcohol did to the spirit, from witnessing its energetic impact, not just on the body, but on the soul field. They didn't see alcohol as a party drug. They saw it as a spiritual disruptor, a substance that severed the connection between human and higher self, between body and nature, between soul and source. So what exactly did they see? In visions, in trance, in the aftermath of ingestion, they described alcohol not as a drink, but as a spiritual entity, a parasitic one that attached itself to the aura, distorted perception, and created false openings in the energetic body, openings that let in things that didn't belong. In the Shipibo-Conibo traditions of Peru, shamans speak of dark rivers flowing through the bodies of those who consume alcohol, currents of dense, sticky energy that make the body vibrate out of tune with the natural song of life. They say alcohol silences plant spirits, repels animal allies, and confuses ancestral guides. In other words, it disconnects you from the web of consciousness. And that's not just poetic, that's dangerous. And here's where the paradox begins. Modern society normalizes alcohol, celebrates it, markets it as liberation. But to those who walked the path of real liberation, the ones who saw energy, not just matter, alcohol was the first cage. The kind that seduces you, relaxes you, numbs you until you forget who you are. So the real question isn't, why didn't shamans drink? It's, what did they know that we've forgotten? So what actually happens when alcohol enters your system? We're not talking about liver toxicity, or hangovers, or memory loss. We're talking about something much deeper. Something your doctor never told you. Your electromagnetic field collapses. That's not just a spiritual metaphor. That's measurable science. Your aura, a real, detectable field. Your body doesn't end at your skin. You're surrounded by a field of subtle energy, generated by your heart, your brain, your chakras. It's what ancient mystics called the aura, and what modern tech now detects as the biofield. This field holds your emotional state, your energetic boundaries, and your connection to higher consciousness. It's your spiritual firewall. And alcohol, it drops the voltage, literally. Energetic downgrade. What shamans witnessed. Shamans who work in altered states often describe alcohol as a spirit flattener. It lowers your vibrational frequency, dulls your psychic perception, shuts down your pineal gland, and tears microfractures in your auric shield. These tiny cracks become entry points for thoughts, emotions, or even entities that don't originate from you. That's not superstition, that's energetic hygiene. Open portals, leaking power. The reason many ancient traditions called alcohol spirits isn't just because of fermentation. It's because they believed alcohol opens portals, not to the divine, but to the astral trash zone. The layers of reality filled with chaotic, fragmented energies. And when you're intoxicated, your boundaries dissolve. You're still in your body, but your command center is offline, like leaving the front door wide open with no one guarding the house. Ever wonder why people black out? Why they become someone else? Why they regret what they say, do, or feel under the influence? Because for a few hours, they're not fully present. And something else is. Shamans have witnessed this countless times. A person under the influence splits from their higher self. Sometimes that thread reconnects. Sometimes it doesn't. And if you think this is all just esoteric myth, check the patterns. Depression, mood swings, fragmented thoughts, anxiety after drinking, sudden dark dreams, persistent spiritual deadness. These aren't just side effects, they're symptoms of energetic interference. So ask yourself this: if you had a direct connection to your higher self, why drink something that blurs the signal? Why ingest a substance that ancient spiritual scientists feared more than any physical poison? Here's something they never taught in school. Alcohol wasn't always a cultural norm. It was introduced strategically, not to connect people, but to disconnect them, to soften resistance, to lower consciousness, to keep the masses calm, confused, and controllable. The colonial agenda. When European empires colonized spiritual cultures from Africa to the Americas to Asia, they didn't just take land. They disrupted entire spiritual ecosystems. One of the first tools they used, alcohol. They brought it into tribes that had never consumed such substances. They handed it out in gifts, traded it for labor, and then watched as entire generations lost their spiritual coherence. Shamans silenced, ceremonies replaced, connection to spirit dimmed. And this wasn't accidental, because a population that's clear, intuitive, and self-aware is dangerous to systems built on hierarchy and control. A population that's fragmented, numb, and energetically foggy, easy to manage. Fast forward to today. We live in a world where alcohol is celebrated in media, embedded in rituals, weddings, holidays, even funerals, marketed as self-care, sold as rebellion, and used to take the edge off. But here's the twist. That edge you're trying to smooth? It's your awareness, your instinct, your soul telling you this isn't the path. Spiritual amnesia in a bottle. Every sip you take pulls you further from the signal. You stop hearing your guides. You ignore synchronicities. You question your intuition. And the more you drink, the more normal that disconnection feels, until waking up feels foreign and sleepwalking feels safe. So here's the wake-up call. If ancient cultures, with far more sensitivity to energy than we have now, feared alcohol enough to ban it from ceremony, what does that tell you? If you're still watching and this message resonates, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon. We're not here for surface-level content. We're waking up layer by layer, truth by truth. Here's a question no one's asking. If some substances can expand your consciousness, why does alcohol always shut it down? We've all heard of ayahuasca, psilocybin mushrooms, San Pedro cactus, even ancient soma. These were sacraments, not drugs, used in ritual, held in reverence, guided by trained shamans to open inner dimensions of the soul. They didn't numb, they revealed. Sacred plants are conscious allies. When you ingest ayahuasca, you're not just drinking a brew, you're communing with an intelligence. The tribes of the Amazon call her the mother. She scans you, shows you what you need to see, brings shadow to the surface and holds you through transformation. Even when it's hard, it's conscious, it's a relationship. Alcohol has no spirit, it steals yours. Contrast that with alcohol. No guidance, no communion, no intelligence. Just a blanket that smothers the voice of your soul. Shamans often say, ayahuasca wakes the snake, alcohol kills it. Because one raises kundalini energy, the other drowns it. Different frequencies, different outcomes. Sacred plants are energetic amplifiers. They match your intention. Go in seeking truth, and they reveal it. Go in unprepared, and they humble you, but always with a sense of sacred responsibility. Alcohol is different. It doesn't care what you want. It hijacks the signal, flattens your frequency, and opens you to interference. Why did ancient cultures choose one and banish the other? Because they understood resonance. They knew that what you put into your body either tunes you closer to the divine or throws you into static. Ayahuasca raised your vibration. Alcohol scrambled it. That's why one was used in temples, and the other was left outside the fire. And here's the twist. In modern society, we've reversed the roles. We celebrate alcohol and criminalize the sacraments. We numb rather than see, escape rather than face, because facing means changing, and change is what power structures fear most. So the next time someone tells you it's just a drink, ask yourself, would the real you, the clear you, the grounded you, the soul-connected you, Choose it? Or is it just another voice echoing from a culture that's afraid of awakening? Here's something most people don't know. Even in the 21st century, amidst modern retreats, luxury ceremonies, and global awakenings, true shamans still have one non-negotiable rule: no alcohol, ever. Not days before the ceremony, not weeks. Some demand months of abstinence. Why? Because they've seen what happens when that rule is broken, and it's not pretty. Energetic pollution is real. When someone comes to a sacred plant ceremony with alcohol in their system, even from a week ago, the entire energetic field of the circle gets disturbed. The brew doesn't work the same. The visions get distorted. The group feels chaotic. And most of all, the person who drank gets thrown into turbulence. Shamans report violent purging, possession-like episodes, disconnection from the healing process, or worse, energetic attachments that linger long after the retreat ends. Case study: the woman who opened a door at a retreat in Ecuador, a woman who secretly drank wine 2 nights before ayahuasca entered the ceremony, laughing. By the end of the first cup, she was screaming. Not the kind that purges fear, the kind that invites it. The shaman stopped the music, paused the session, and spent 3 hours guiding a force out of her that wasn't hers. After the ceremony, she confessed the wine. Everyone felt the shift instantly. One choice, one drink, one door opened, and it wasn't easy to close. Why the dieta matters: true shamans have protocols. Not because they're strict, because they understand energy. The dieta isn't just about food, it's about clarity, silence, clean signals. Alcohol is like a jammer. It throws noise into the channel. And in the world of spirits, noise attracts predators. That's not fear-mongering, that's wisdom. This is why real healing isn't trendy. You'll never see a true shaman pouring tequila in a sound bath or mixing cocktails at an integration circle, because they know the spirit world listens. And when you walk into that space with alcohol residue, you're not protected, you're porous, and something is always listening. So now ask yourself, if those who guide people through death, rebirth, and cosmic realms refuse to allow alcohol anywhere near their practice, why would we bring it into ours? They say energy doesn't lie, but what about science? Can modern research back up what ancient shamans already knew? Absolutely. In fact, once you see what alcohol does to your brain and energy systems, you'll never look at just a drink the same way again. The brain, the body, and the soul, one electric network. Your body is an electromagnetic machine. Your brain runs on bioelectrical signals. Your heart emits the strongest electromagnetic field in your body. Your cells communicate through frequency, and every thought, emotion, and intention creates a waveform, a signal that radiates into your environment and interacts with others. Now here's the question: what happens when alcohol enters that system? Alcohol equals systemic signal jammer. From a neuroscience standpoint, alcohol depresses the central nervous system. That's not a metaphor. That's textbook. It literally slows neural communication, disrupts synaptic clarity, and distorts the electrical coherence between brain hemispheres. Translation: diminished intuition, slowed cognitive processing, fractured emotional regulation, weakening of the frontal cortex, your seat of awareness. And that's just the start. The heart field weakens. According to studies by the HeartMath Institute, your heart generates a measurable field that changes with emotion. States like gratitude and love expand it. States like anger, shame, and intoxication compress it. After even one drink, your heart's rhythm coherence drops. You literally become less attuned to others, less empathetic, less aware. And in spiritual terms, you lose alignment with Source. Brainwaves don't lie. Alcohol shifts your brainwaves from alpha and theta states, ideal for meditation, insight, and inner guidance, into beta and delta disarray, where your conscious mind goes foggy and your subconscious becomes a sponge. But not for divine downloads, for external influence. You become programmable, suggestible, easily swayed. That's why alcohol has been used for mind control, coercion, and even military experiments. Not because it frees you, because it makes you vulnerable. So, let's get real. Alcohol doesn't relax your soul. It lowers your firewall. It doesn't open your third eye. It dims it. And the more often you drink, the harder it becomes to hear the signal of your truth. Because noise becomes your new normal, and silence, the gateway to source, starts to feel uncomfortable. So here's the real question science and spirit both ask. If your energy, your consciousness, and your soul field are the most precious tools you have, why gamble them for a few hours of disconnection? Here's a truth they never taught you. Your dreams are not just stories. They're messages, they're maps, diagnostics, portals to the other side. But if that's true, what happens when alcohol gets involved? What if every sip isn't just numbing your waking life, but cutting off your access to the realms you explore in sleep? Dreams are not fiction, they're frequency journeys. Shamans, mystics, and dream yogis have always seen dreams as real travel. When your physical body sleeps, your consciousness roams through astral planes, ancestral realms, timelines, and symbols. Your third eye becomes your compass. Your energy body becomes your vehicle. But here's what alcohol does. It grounds you too hard. It anchors you to density. So instead of lifting off, you sink. Lucid dreams fade. Astral doors close. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, the state where lucid dreams, prophetic visions, and astral projection occur. You might still dream after drinking, but those dreams are static-filled, confused, forgettable, because your third eye can't process clean signals, because your energy body is off tune, because the portal is cloudy. And what's worse, sometimes what comes through isn't yours. Opening the wrong channels. Several dream workers report the same pattern. After drinking, they get intrusive dreams, shadow figures, or feel watched in sleep. Not always terrifying, but always off. Why? Because in that state, you're not grounded or elevated. You're floating, unguarded, and that makes you visible to realms you're not prepared to navigate. The wipe effect, memory loss of soul wisdom. You ever wake up after a night of drinking and feel like you had important dreams, but they're gone? That's not just bad memory, that's spiritual wipeout. In many esoteric systems, sleep is when your higher self downloads guidance lessons, next steps on your path. Alcohol blocks that transfer. It's like unplugging the USB right before the file finishes copying. You wake up blank and start from zero again. When you sleep, you're supposed to upgrade, not disconnect. So when alcohol becomes routine, you start to forget. Not just your dreams, your deeper self. The you that sees, knows, and remembers why you even came here in the first place. And slowly, you begin to believe this dull, heavy world is all there is. Let's bring it full circle. You are not just a body. You are a vessel of memory, energy, and divine intelligence. You are a frequency transmitter, a walking field of consciousness with the ability to create, destroy, remember, and evolve. And that vessel needs to be clean, clear, tuned, because what you hold in it becomes the message you send to the universe. So the next time someone says, "Come on, it's just a drink," ask yourself, would my higher self choose this? Or am I choosing from a place I haven't healed yet? You came here for something greater, and you know it. That quiet voice inside you, it's getting louder. It's not trying to shame you. It's trying to wake you, because the truth is, alcohol doesn't steal your power. It just makes you forget you had it. And the moment you remember, the moment you choose clarity over numbness, vision over sedation, is the moment everything begins to shift. So now, here's what I want to ask you. What do you think alcohol really is? A tool? A trap? A teacher? A test? Drop it in the comments. Let's break the silence together. And if this video sparked something in you, there are more doors waiting on this channel. More truths, more keys. Because this was never about just information. It was about remembrance, and you've only just begun.